So my dudes, with the introduction of base building, one of my biggest questions along the way has been, what's the cap? What's the maximum amount of these structures that we can place down and use? I think that this will be essential information in planning big bases in the future, and it'll also be great if we ever see new structure sets with new caps introduced in the future. It's a double whammy, my dudes! So first things first, we're going to see how many pillars we can place down from the resistance set. And as I go through placing this stuff down, we have a maximum cap of 150 pillars. Now, this number of 150 is actually super important, my dudes. It's the universal cap for walls and a variety of other structures that we can currently place down. Now, it's not like you would make your base solely out of 150 pillars, but it's really good to keep that in mind with how many pillars you're placing down in comparison to your walls. So, for a second here, my dudes, we're going to talk just a little bit of base theory. So, with the pillars, even though you could place down 150 of them, and that might sound like a lot, in comparison to the small walls and the tall walls, you're getting the least out of the three because you are getting just a middling amount of height in terms of protection. As well, you're only getting a single space, a single block of protection, whereas the other walls will give you 3 blocks of protection as well as varying amounts of height. So the pillars are kind of the worst thing to spam a lot of. They do look really nice on corners, but maybe if you're trying to make the most efficient base, you might want to avoid actually placing pillars down entirely. Now, as most of you know, you can place down as many other structures as you want and still be able to build your defensive placements, because those are separate from that 150 cap. Now, doors are just like defensive structures, in which case they have their own separate cap from the 150 wall cap that you have in the game. So you could place down 10 doors alongside the 150 walls and alongside the other caps that you see for the defensive structures and your lighting. Now, tall walls, just like the pillars, follow that wall cap, and it's the same with the small walls as well. But ultimately, your best choice if you're going for straight defenses is the tall wall itself, because the tall wall is just it offers that upper protection, which sometimes, say if you have a tank that spawns with a rocket salvo, you're gonna really want a tall wall to catch those rockets, or at least catch a few stray ones when you're trying to defend your base. As well, and this is a really rare occurrence, but sometimes the hunters with the sniper rifles can have their sniper rifle get just a little bit above the small walls, which can then reach further into your base and further into your defenses. Now, for defensive structures, I'm sure most of you know by now that your pillbox cap is 5 pillboxes. But I'm sure that a lot of you maybe wouldn't know that you have a cap of 10 hunting towers. And that cap of 10 hunting towers is completely separate from your cap of small pillboxes. Which means that in total you could place down 15 defensive structures around your base. Now, the other thing too that I was kind of curious about was the fact that the doors and the hunting towers had the same cap of 10. So in my testing, you can place down all 10 hunting towers and 10 doors, and they are separate from each other. Now, personally, I would like to see the turret cap raised, but I'm not going to be focusing too much on any sort of like wish lists or anything like that until the Xbox version comes out, so that way at least all of the versions are on the same page before I start throwing out wish lists or hopes and dreams about this whole base building thing. So next up for crafting stations, though, you can only place down one of each crafting station, and I think that that's absolutely fine for the whole base building purpose. Now, lighting follows its own separate cap, and lighting has a cap of 25 placeable lights that you could put around your base. And 25 is an absolutely perfect number. I don't think that you're going to need more than 25 lights. But one thing that would be nice to see in the future is maybe stronger light sources, and potentially even some colored light sources would be nice too, just to add your own personal touch. For the future of base building here in Generation Zero, I think the Decorations tab is going to be a really interesting one to see unfold and come along the way. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of goofy and kind of weird things come from the team. But the next thing is that target dummies. You might think that they're part of the decoration cap of 25, just like the light sources. But actually, target dummies follow the same cap as the walls, that 150 wall cap. So that's actually pretty interesting, especially when it comes to how you're going to lay out your base personally. You might want to throw down a couple dummies, but you're going to have to sacrifice a few walls from your maximum cap in order to actually do so. Now, I gotta say, my dudes, I definitely prefer the hanging lantern to the street light. Don't get me wrong, I like them both, but I just kind of prefer the vibe that the hanging lantern puts off in comparison to the street light. At least for now. Maybe in the future, if we get some more modern structures, I'll kind of enjoy the street light alongside my builds a little bit more. But I gotta ask you dudes, which do you prefer, the hanging lantern or the street light? Let me know in the comments down below. So, my dudes, let's quickly summarize all of the building caps here in the game. You have a wall cap of 150, and that applies to the pylons, the tall walls, and the small walls, and then the doors have their own separate cap of 10. For your defensive structures, you have a cap of 5 for your pillbox machine gun turrets, and you have a cap of 10 for your hunting tower stands. For the crafting stations, you can only place one of each. For the lighting, you can place 25 individual pieces of lighting. And for your target dummies and the banners, they all fall under that 150 cap for the wall cap. So there you go, my dudes. There are the caps for all of the different buildable structures in the game. Let me know, what do you think of the caps? Do you think that they're good where they're at? Would you like to see them increase? Do you think that they're too much, maybe? Let me know in the comments down below. But for now, you've been awesome. I've been Tenebrous. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.